Building the additional toolbox. One of the first things we're going to need is liquid ammonia. You can buy it down at the grocery store. Any grocery store is going to have it. You cut it though. You keep it in a container that's sealed tight. Otherwise you're going to get to it and it's not there. It evaporated on you. Cut it 50%. Keep it in a tight little container. The other thing you need is a way to disperse it. Okay? It's liquid ammonia. I don't want liquid. If I squirt liquid ammonia into a protective housing that has a leak, I got a big cloud. Okay, I got the right tank car at that point. I can't separate what valve's leaking, where's leaks coming from. So really what I need to use is the gas that comes off the liquid ammonia. So I need a little bottle to disperse it with. I'll get the little one. It's got the little plastic tube that comes out of it. Tube comes down inside of it, take the cap off, cut the inside tube off. I don't want that in there because that's just a eduction light that's going to squirt me more liquid out. Cut that off, put it back on. Don't put the ammonia in it until you get on site. Keep it in a sealed container. All right. The other thing I like to have in my little toolbox is a Q-tip, the long wooden Q-tips. Sometimes these leaks, even though you can smell them, are very, very small. So I got to try and find a little bitty leak. If I have that little Q-tip, I can get right down in there. I'll soak it with a liquid ammonia, get right down in there, and I can try and find that leak. So that Q-tip, another way to disperse the ammonia. All right. So I got this toolbox. I got some ammonia. I got a way to dispense it. We have this putty knife to clean up the ferrochloride. I need rags. I need a lot of rags because it's going to be a mess. So I'm going to get in there and wipe it all out, scrape it out, clean my putty knife off, get back in there, keep scraping. So big bundle of rags. Also, the other thing that we need the rags for, once we get inside the protective housing, you'll see there's drain holes on it all the way around the inside. I use them rags to stuff in them drain holes and plug them. One of the things that happens, remember, the chlorine is heavier in air, so it sinks. The pressure plate, remember, there's only one connection. It goes from the tank nozzle to the pressure plate. If I'm down along that pressure plate tank nozzle connection and I'm with my ammonia gas checking for a leak and it's clouding up, it could be the leak is inside the protective housing and it's coming out the drain holes. So I think the pressure plate's leaking and it's not. So take the rags, stuff them in the holes, all right? Got to have rags. Talked about Teflon tape. No Teflon tape here. Another important part so that I can tape up the plug to stop the leak that's coming out of the plug, right? Duct tape. I like to have duct tape, and when you're putting on a C-kit onto a car, the portholes have little flappers on them. Well, take the duct tape, tape it up, get it out of my way. All right? If you're trying to do all this stuff and Incident Command made me put level A on and SCBA, the last thing I knew is to fight that. So I also like to have a little duct tape in there. I'll tape them portholes covers right out of my way. All right? Cheater bar. I talked about 600 pounds of torque onto the tank nozzle to the pressure plate. Give me a big cheater bar, 36-inch cheater bar. I put that on this wrench, put it on the end, get a real big guy, and I might be able to move that. So a 36-inch cheater bar, have that part of your plan. Pipe wrench, don't have a pipe wrench. Sometimes these plugs, remember, the regulation is tool tight. My tool tight and a guy smaller than me, our tool tights can be different. You might run into one that ain't moving. You know, we got a little bitty wrench to get it out with. Bring a big pipe wrench. Might need that to get it out. Put that in that toolbox. Again, a multiplier. You can buy a multiplier to put on top of this. We're trying to move something that was torqued at 600 pounds of torque. So you can get a multiplier, try to get more leverage on this thing. We talked about cutting the plug off to get it out of the way. Another thing that I carry in my additional toolbox is a 1-inch flush plug, they're called. You can buy them at any hardware store. This is a 1-inch standard thread. A 1-inch flush plug looks just like that, but instead of having this on the end of it, it'll have an Allen head hole in it. So what I can do is take my 1-inch plug, put it in there, take the Allen wrench, again another part that I have to have in my toolbox, tighten that up and it'll become flush. I can put my C-kit over the top of this. Now I have my C-kit becomes my secondary containment. If the thing's leaking, I have to plug in there and I put this over the top, now I got secondary containment. So instead of not having a plug in there, I can put the flush plug in there. We talked about knowing why, before we recap a car, we got to figure out what's going on with it. We have a problem with the PRD, we need to know pressure. Well, again, the C-kit doesn't have pressure gauge. Another thing that I need in my toolbox. We talked about what the pressure rating of the PRD is, 375 pounds. So obviously a 200-pound gauge is no value to me. I need to get a 500-pound gauge. It has to be compatible with chlorine gas, right? That should be part of it. Doesn't need to be a certified gauge because we're just looking about. I need to know about the pressure. If it's 200 pounds, it's not a problem. If it's 350, I'm not capping that. So get me a 500-pound gauge, and of course I have to have a way to connect it. Again, this is a 1-inch standard thread plug. So I'm going to get me a 1-inch pipe about 12 inches long. I'm going to get me a 500-pound gauge, big face on it. So when I screw it into the side and I point it down, because you know what the incident commander is going to want to know? He wants to know the pressure of the car, and I want to know it every 30 minutes. So you have two options: climb the car or have a big face gauge and point it straight down so I can walk up the side of the car and look up and I can see what the pressure is. Another thing that's not in here. So build that toolbox, put it in there. Anything else that you can think of as time goes along that you'll need, put it in that toolbox, have it set up with your C-kit, locked up so it's ready to go.